I'm so excited to do this video. I didn't even let my hair dry. Sorry if I look like a mess. We're getting into it. Hello Chaos Gang and welcome back to my bullshit. My name is Sybil and today I'm here alone. If you want any of Aliara's socials to be down in the description below. Okay, so today we're talking about Sapphic books. I kind of want to start a mini series on this channel where every once in a while I upload a video reacting to 2 Sapphic books at a time, or 2 Sapphic movies at a time, or 2 Sapphic TV shows at a time, because I feel like Sapphic creatives and creators don't get enough hype. So I kind of want to use this as an opportunity to highlight what I think is fun and good Sapphic content. I'm not too sure how well this series is gonna do, but I'm excited for it and therefore I'm gonna do it either way. You know, 10 people could watch this video and I'm excited. So today I'm starting off with 2 Sapphic books that I read. Which one do we start with? You know what, we'll save the best for last. And we'll start with this one. Just so you know, I'm not great with names. I might butcher the author's names. I might butcher character names in the future. I'm here to do my best, okay? But this is I Think I Love You by Ariane de Sombre. So this is actually her debut novel, so it's her first one ever, so you know, round of applause. So the back of this book is described as, Emma is a die-hard romantic. She loves meet-cute movies, her pet, Lady Capulet, I like it. And writing the gay rom-com of her dreams for the film festival competition she and her friends are entering. If only they'd listened to her ideas. Sophia is pragmatic. She's big into boycotts, namely relationships, boys, and their BO. Reason, big number, she's a lesbian. And Emma's nauseating ideas. Forget starry-eyed romance, Sophia knows what will win, an artistic film and a message. Cue the drama. The movie is doomed before they even start shooting. Until a real-life plot twist unfolds behind the camera when Emma and Sophia begin to see each other through a different lens. Suddenly, their rivalry feels like an actual rom-com. A sweet and funny debut novel about falling for someone when you least expect it and finding out that real-life romance is better than anything on the screen, bitch. I put the bitch in there, she didn't. So I found this book at Barnes & Noble for $11, so it's on the cheaper side of books and it's accessible online and offline, which is awesome. Let me get out my little list of topics that I wanted to talk about with this book. So overall, I think this is a cute little romance novel. If you were gonna read this, I would definitely say you're reading it more for the romantic aspects than the plotline aspects, because while the plotline is cute, like the idea that these 2 people with super different ideas on how they want to make this film and have this rivalry, it's like a cute plot, but I think you're more so reading for the romance. This is a young adult book, and in my opinion, there's kind of 2 directions young adult books usually go. Either the book is for like any age, somebody in their 30s could read it and still enjoy it, and then there's some young adult books where I think it's really meant for like, you know, 15, 16-year-olds, and as a 23-year-old, I would definitely put this book in the category of like, if you're 16 or under, I think you'd really enjoy it. I think it's a great, cute little romance novel for younger Sapphic people, or just younger people in general, because you don't have to be Sapphic or queer to read a queer book. But I definitely do think reading it, I felt out of touch with it. That's not to say it's not cute, that's not to say somebody over 16 couldn't enjoy it, but from my humble opinion, I think the younger Sapphics would like this. I also think this book is really good for somebody who may not be a reader, maybe new to reading, hasn't read for a while and wants to get back into reading. The language is pretty simple, the plot's pretty easy to follow, there's not like 1,000,001 characters you have to keep track of. It's 307 pages, but the font's pretty big, so it's not like 307 pages of like when you're reading a true crime book and everything's super small. It's like 307 pages of some pretty decently large text. Some other things to note for this book, one of the main characters is bisexual and the other main character is a lesbian, so we get bi representation in this without some weird scheming or cheating plot. It's just like good bi representation in my opinion. I'm not bi, but I would assume, you know, it doesn't follow any of the stereotypes about bi people. It's just a bi girl and a lesbian romancing. Emma, the bisexual, is also out to the school and her friends, but not her parents, which I feel like is very realistic and we don't see oftentimes. Because at least my experience, like I came out to my parents before I came out to other people, but what I noticed when I was in high school and stuff is like all the people that I knew were queer were not out to their parents mostly. It was all people that were like out to their friends and out to like their peers, but like their parents didn't know. So I feel like it's almost more realistic sometimes. This book is also not paranormal at all. It's not set in some weird timeline. This is very much just like real life, high school romance. Now I'm gonna get into some things I wasn't a huge fan of just because, you know, the sake of honesty, right? You know, you wanna know if you wanna spend money on it or go out of your way to give it time and read it. So personally, it was hard for me to get into it in the beginning. Now this could go back to what I said about being not maybe the demographic or the audience that this is made for, because like I said, I think it's better for younger readers. But with that being said, it is a bit of enemies to lovers, but the setup for the enemies doesn't really make sense in my opinion. Everything I will be telling you as far as spoilers go happens within like the first 60-70 pages, so it's not really like spoilers. It's like if you read the beginning of the book, you would know this kind of stuff. But the enemies to lovers is set up like they're enemies because of the fact that they're the only out people in their school, so people ship them and expect them to be together, which in my mind doesn't make sense. I don't know why that would make you enemies with somebody. Like, I could understand being annoyed by it or being like, ugh, I'm over this like stereotypical like, oh, every gay knows each other and every gay's gonna date thing. I get that, but I don't think it's a reason for dislike, especially when the author already set up a reason for them to dislike each other, but instead that was like what we're introduced with. I think it would have been better if the author was like, the reason they don't get along is simply because Emma is super daydreamy, romantic, Sophia's not, so therefore Sophia's always kind of like shitting on her ideas and her dreams, and therefore there's like a disconnect and upset, which happens in the book. So I don't understand why the author didn't just make that the reason they were enemies in the first place. I don't know why they decided to go with the idea that it's because people ship them. So I did think that was a little weird. And it felt like a little bit more like a fan fiction at first, which I love fan fiction. I read fan fiction. I'm a fan of the fiction. But it didn't quite feel novel-esque in the beginning. Not to say that there's some fan fictions that don't feel like a novel. I've read some that are bigger than this book, but this definitely started off feeling like a run-of-the-mill fan fiction for me. However, around page 90 of the 307 is when I started to like enjoy it and really start to read it, and then towards the end it kind of fell off again for me, but once again that could be simply because I'm not the demographic. I also spent quite a bit of time while reading this book thinking, why are these people friends, like this friend group? Because they're all at first working to make this film for a competition, and you know, it's Sophia, Emma, and a bunch of their friends, and that's the reason Sophia's even in the group, is because Sophia's friends with Tom, who is friends with Emma, and then there's like more people in the friend group, and they're all beginning by trying to figure out how they're gonna make this film. And then between Sophia and Emma's differences, they end up fighting, splitting the group, and making separate films, so then there's like a rivalry thing going on. But I spend a lot of my time questioning why these people are even friends with each other. There's like so much scheming and plotting. It just feels like something I wouldn't do to my friends. For instance, once again, this isn't a major spoiler, this happens within the beginning of the book. After Emma and Sophia fight and the group gets broken up into two, the friends like try to create this scheme where they try to convince Emma that Sophia's in love with her, and they try to convince Sophia that Emma's in love with her, so that way they'd be nicer to each other. So basically they just are like setting them up in a way, but it's only with the interest of making them like each other so the group will come back together. Which in my opinion, that's fucking mean. Especially because these two don't like each other. They actually have a heavy dislike of each other. So it just doesn't make sense. It's not like they're in love with each other and they're trying to set them up or something. It's like they just, for their own interest, want the group back, so they're trying to make them think that like they like each other so they'll be nicer to each other. It's, yeah, if it sounds weird, it's because it is. And because of that, I think the characters can come off a bit annoying. But I must say, looking back on teenage me, sometimes I look at thoughts I had or things I did and I'm like, yes, well, that was annoying. So I think in a different sense, it is kind of realistic for these teenagers to not always make the right decision, not always make like the smart decision, to be impulsive. I think that's realistic. On top of that, at points it feels a bit rushed, especially with like the romantic cutesy scenes. I feel like there could have been more time spent on that, especially because that is the main focus of this, in my opinion, is like watching this relationship develop. So I wish that we got to see more of that. The end feels rushed and a little unrealistic, in my opinion, with what we got to see. This is a spoiler, but I feel like, you know, with Sapphic content, you never know. So I will tell you, it has a happy ending. It's not a bury your gaze. It's not a pining forever lost love. It does have a happy ending. I just feel like we didn't get to see enough scenes to lead to what that happy ending is, which is unfortunate because the cute moments in this book are really cute. I just feel like they weren't enough for the conclusion. I would have liked to see more of their relationship developing and more of the time they spent with just each other, and even a better dynamic of them with each other in front of their friends. With all that being said, overall, I do think it's a really cute book. I do think if you're 16 or under, you would enjoy this full-heartedly. You know, it ends happy, it's grounded in reality, it's enemies to lovers, it's just a cute little novel, and I also like to see all of like the friends' relationships around them developing too, because there's side characters, and the side characters are also like, you know, finding love and all that good stuff, which I think is super cute. I think a young queer Sapphic would eat this shit up. If this came out when I was like 15, I would have eaten this shit up. And once again, it's this author's debut novel, so I can only see improvement from here as well. But you know, come on, it's like the cheerful, romantic, wanting to make a romance film, and the pragmatic, serious, grounded in reality, wants to make an artsy French film, fall in love. It's cute. It's cute. It's cute. Personally, probably won't read it again, but I think, like I've said 12 times, somebody 16 or younger would love it. Okay, the second book we're doing today, Chef's fucking Kiss. Okay, this is The Coldest Touch. This is by Isabel Sterling. If you have read Sapphic novels before, you probably already know Isabel Sterling as the author of These Witches Don't Burn. I haven't read it yet. I do own it and I will be reading it. But I started off with this one. My girlfriend and I went to Barnes & Noble's. There was a lovely worker there. I asked them like, hey, I'm looking for Sapphic, queer, what do you got? And they were like, that's my entire bookshelf. And they rushed me over and started pulling out books. This was among them. Now we need to mention some of my biases real quick, right? So first of all, for all of these, I'm a lesbian. I crave queer content, so that could be said for this entire series. But also, I am a slut for vampires and paranormal. You could slut me out for the paranormal, and I'm there, okay? So we gotta recognize that bias. Look at the cover. That's adorable, okay? We're already screaming. We got this book. We got home. From 5 p.m. to 1 in the morning, I finished this book. That was my day. The only breaks I took in between that were like eating, peeing, water breaks, and my mom called at one point. Those were the breaks I took. I read this thing front to end without a second thought. Like, this book is 375 pages, and by page 60, I was like, what do you mean there's only 315 more pages? Like, no, give me more. There's not a moment I was bored. There wasn't a character that I intensely hated or thought was annoying. There wasn't a moment where I felt like I knew exactly what was gonna happen. Like, it's like not unpredictable, but it's certainly not the most predictable, which I appreciate in a book. I haven't even read the back to you yet. I'm just rambling. This is genuinely the best book I've read in a long time, as you can probably tell from my dynamic right now. I think it's Beaumont, but it could be Beaumont. Elise Beaumont is cursed. With every touch, she experiences exactly how her loved ones will die. And after her brother's death, a death she predicted but was unable to prevent, Elise is desperate to get rid of her terrible gift, no matter the cost. Claire Montgomery also has a unique relationship with death, mostly because she's already dead. Technically, anyway. Claire is a vampire, and she's been assigned by the Veil to help Elise master her rare Death Oracle powers. At first, Elise is reluctant to work with the vampire, but when she predicts a teacher's imminent murder, she's determined to stop the violent death, even if it means sacrificing her own future to secure Claire's help. The trouble is, Claire and Elise aren't the only paranormals in town. A killer is stalking the streets, and Claire can't seem to shake the pull she feels towards Elise, a romance that could upend the Veil's mission. But as Elise and Claire grow closer, Elise begins to wonder, can she really trust someone tasked with securing her loyalty? Someone who could so easily kill her? Someone who might hold the key to unraveling her brother's mysterious death? Bitch, where do we start? Probably from the beginning, right? I gotta pull out my notes, otherwise I'm just gonna go on a tangent. So I believe in this book, Claire is 17 and Elise is like 16 and a half. Now, something that people often find problematic about vampire books, which, you know, is that you have the vampire who's hundreds of years old and has like the mindset of somebody who's lived for hundreds of years, and they fall for like a 17-year-old, you know what I mean? What the author did in this book that I think helped a lot is Claire is physically and mentally stuck at 17. Like, when she was changed, she is forever 17. But again, what the author did really good when it comes to this is it's a reoccurring thing that's brought up, and the author explains where Claire has a different mindset than other vampires and other people because she's mentally stuck at 17. Like in a lot of books, it feels like they're like, yeah, whatever, they're stuck at 17 mentally, but then throughout the entire book, they're making decisions that like somebody who's lived for hundreds of years would make. But in this, Claire is 17 through and through. She has the mindset of a 17-year-old. She acts like a 17-year-old. If anything, she has like the existential dread of like forever being 17. So I think the author did a good job at making it not creepy, whereas a lot of vampire novels, no matter how they try to spin it, it kind of ends up creepy. Elise the Death Oracle thinks she's human, but then she develops this gift where when she touches somebody, she sees their death. So it's hindering her life in a way where she has to break up with her boyfriend because, you know, every time she touches him, she has to see him growing old next to somebody else and dying. So she's like, well, clearly we're not ending up together. And also I don't want to touch him because I keep seeing him die. It drives her away from her friends. It strains her relationship with her parents. You know, she's wearing like sweaters in summer just to like hide her skin because it's skin to skin contact specifically that causes it. And you really see like the turmoil and pain that it's bringing to her. I think the author did a really great job of portraying that. The whole premise is really freaking cool. I like it. And Elise is like going to occult shops and doing all this research trying to figure out like, what can I do to stop this? And you can really see like the inner turmoil that Elise is going through. Now, Claire is sent by the Veil. If you've read vampire books in the past, a common theme in vampire books is that there's some kind of like paranormal governing over the paranormal world. In Carmilla, the web series, it's like the Dean and Vordenberg and the Council and all those people. In Twilight, it's not the Vatican, the Volturi. In this book, in this universe, it's the Veil, and Claire is sent by the Veil to go train the Death Oracle because the Veil wants the Death Oracle on their side. And the Death Oracle can basically change how somebody dies, when they die, the circumstances surrounding their death, things like that. So it's really important for, you know, this vampire paranormal government to have her because that's like basically a weapon for them. So Claire gets sent. Throughout the beginning of the book, like the very beginning, like I said, nothing that I tell you will be major spoilers. It's all stuff that you will recognize within the first 50, 60 pages of the book. It's funny because throughout the beginning of the book, like Claire is trying to set up situations where Elise will touch her because if Elise touches her, she'll recognize, I can't see this person's death because that's right, Claire's already technically dead. So she's setting up these situations, and of course Elise is like, I don't want to see how this stranger fucking dies. But eventually, like, the situation happens and she's like, what? I'm sorry, what? Why can I not see you dying? And then stuff starts to, like, you know, pick up from there. You know, Elise obviously finds out more and the book really starts to take off. Now, this book has so many banger tropes in it, okay? I would say this book slightly starts off with a little bit of enemies to lovers simply because Elise is so anti getting to know anybody, really, because of what's going on, but especially Claire, because Claire, being sent by the Veil, is like trying to gain her trust, trying to get to know her, trying to get closer to her, and Elise is like, get the fuck away from me. I can't have anyone close to me right now. My life is a disaster show. So there is like some pushing away and not being able to connect because Claire's like, well, I can't come out immediately and be like, hey, I'm a vampire and you're a death oracle, because obviously that would scare her off. So she's just trying to gain her trust. And then Elise is like, I don't want anything to fucking do with you. I can't have anybody near me. So there is a little bit of enemies to lovers in the beginning. Another one is unwanted assistance. Elise clearly doesn't want to be the death oracle. She doesn't want these powers. Claire obviously has to like talk to her and train her and, you know, get her to help her out. So there's like the unwanted assistance trope where it's like, I don't want to do this, but I clearly have to do this. And then Elise eventually is like, I don't really want these powers, but I can't really get rid of them. So, you know, we're gonna do it. It's also star-crossed, one, because of the basic thing of like vampires don't age, right? Like I feel like a vampire and, you know, Elise is technically paranormal, but she still will age like a human. Like that's always gonna be star-crossed because of the simple fact that vampires live forever. But on top of that, because Claire works for the Veil, she can't really date the one and only Death Oracle, you know? So a little bit star-crossed in that. There's also a revenge plot line going on. The reason that Claire is even training Elise and helping is because Claire wants help from the Veil to basically find a very specific person and murder them. So there's a reason why Claire is doing all of this as well. This book's also pretty good at being inclusive. There's a bisexual and a lesbian. Once again, we got some bi rep in this boy. There's also POC characters. There's Jordan, who is Elise's ex-boyfriend, but he's a big point of the plot. He's in the story. And then there is Elise's best friend, Maggie. She's also a major part of the story. There's also a non-binary character named Wynn. They're also a big part of the story. I think that's how you pronounce their name. That's how I pronounced it in my head the entire time, so hopefully I'm correct. So that's nice. I feel like you don't often get non-binary characters even in queer books, so we love that. Good fun. I also like that because Elise is also paranormal, it doesn't feel like she's a damsel in distress. And on top of that, Elise's personality also isn't giving damsel in distress that needs to be saved by the big strong vampire. I feel like Elise has her own choices, has her own motives, has her own voice, which I appreciate. And overall, I think this book is good beyond romance. I would say this book is plot first, romance secondary almost in my mind. When I was reading this book, I wasn't just reading it because I wanted to see what happens between Claire and Elise. I wanted to know what happens to the side characters. I want to know what's going on with the Veil. I want to know what happened to Elise's brother. I want to know who this enemy of Claire's is that she so desperately wants dead. Like, I wanted to know everything. I didn't just want them to like kiss. I mean, like, obviously I wanted that too. I'm a queer reading a queer novel, but I cared about so much more than that while reading this book. Overall, I think this book is also pretty good for new readers, people who maybe don't read a lot, people who want to get back into reading, because the language is very much digestible. The plot is easy to follow. Even though it's an interesting and good plot, the writer does a good job of making sure that we know where we're at in the plot. The characters are good, and I feel like for 375 pages, we were given a pretty fleshed out idea of who everyone is. But there's also like a reasonable amount of characters, so it's not like you're constantly trying to remember who's who or what's going on. Like, there's a good amount of characters to have a plot. There's a good amount of pages to flesh out those characters, but there's not too many that it's overwhelming. So I think this is a good option if like you're maybe scared of reading, you don't read a lot, you're nervous about getting into something. I think this is a good option. And even for people who read a lot, I think it's still a really fun read. Like I said, I was able to finish it in a night. And just overall, I completely recommend it. This book was $12 for me. I got it at Barnes & Nobles. So once again, a book that you can find IRL or you can find on the internet. I think this book was worth every dollar. I would reread this book, absolutely. And there's not a sequel in the works currently, but I saw something from the author saying they had an idea for a sequel, so maybe that's something they'll eventually work on. Maybe they're just waiting for it to garner more support before they start a sequel. I'm not sure. Isabel Sterling, if you somehow see this, I personally want the sequel. If you could write it specifically for me, I would really appreciate that. But it's really cute. If you're somebody who doesn't like paranormal, you're somebody who only likes grounded in reality books, of course, you're probably not gonna like it, you know? If you're somebody who likes vampires, likes paranormal, you'll love it. If you enjoyed the show First Kill, you're gonna love this book. If you enjoyed Carmilla the web series, you're gonna enjoy this book, no doubts. If you're somebody who like is okay with the paranormal, but it's not like your favorite thing, I would still say give this book a chance, because like I said, you can definitely read it for just the plot and you would enjoy it, but you could also read it for just the romance and still enjoy it. I think both aspects were done well. Oh, it's also slow burn. That's the trope I forgot to mention. It's also slow burn, so that's truly how I feel. I really like this book. I don't know. I hope you guys like it as much as I do. Once again, my biases, I'm gay and I love vampires. So those are on the table. I'm throwing those out. I'm telling you, this book was specifically made with me in mind, I feel like. I would give it a chance if I were you. I personally would. Kind of the opposite of I Think I Love You for me, in the sense that The Coldest Touch is a young adult book that I think any age could read and enjoy. I don't think it's like a young adult book that's very clearly for a 15-year-old. It's a young adult book that people of all ages could enjoy. It's just a fun little book. It's a fun little thing. I like it. I really hope there's a sequel. Give it to me. Personally, for me, please. I'm gonna be thinking about that book for a long time. All right, I hope this video wasn't too much of a mess. I've never made a video like this as far as like reviewing something, especially two different things in a singular video with a poorly written outline, so I hope it was still easy enough to follow. I'll do my best in editing to make it even easier to follow. I really hope you guys enjoyed this new mini-series. If you didn't, I'm still making it. That made me so happy to just sit here and talk about those books, so this is for me, and if you want to come along, that's great. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please like it. If you really liked it, consider subscribing. Both of those things help me out a lot. Leave me a comment below. Tell me which book you think you'd be more interested in. Comment some Sapphic books that maybe you'd like me to review in the future. Thanks for watching. If I take The Coldest Touch and I Think I Love You and I put them up against the screen like this, it looks like I said, bye.